The regular meeting of the Coralville City Council, August 28, 2018. I call this meeting to order and roll call.
Foster.
Present.
Gross. Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
Here.
Okay, all council members except for Gross are present. He will be here shortly. He's had to stay with some students at West High School that were waiting their parents to arrive, so he'll be here shortly. He just texted. And Kelly here with City Administrator is on his way as well, taking the long way around. But we also have City Attorney, Assistant City Administrator, City Clerk, and various city staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Goodrich. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I have one proclamation this evening. It's my honor to proclaim September 2018 as Library Card Sign-Up Month. I'd like to read this. City of Coralville Proclamation. Whereas a library card is the most important school supply of all, and whereas libraries play an important role in the education and development of children, and whereas library programs serve students of all ages, from early literacy to homework help, and from ESL classes to lifelong learning pursuits, and whereas libraries empower all people to pursue their interests, discover their passions, and achieve their highest potential as learners and citizens. And whereas librarians bring communities together, creating welcoming and inclusive spaces for students of all backgrounds to learn together. And whereas libraries are constantly transforming and expanding their services to meet the needs of the communities they serve. Whereas libraries promote equity, making information and digital technology equally accessible to all. Now therefore be it resolved that I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, proclaim September 2018 as Library Card Sign-Up Month. And I encourage everyone to sign up for their own library card today. Signed this 20th day of August 2018. And I believe we have our librarian, Allison Ames Galstead, here to receive this proclamation. All set? Congratulations. Please say a few words if you'd like.
Thank you very much, Council. It's my honor to be here this evening. Our board members, I got a couple of texts right before the meeting, as you can imagine, that they couldn't make it here tonight to accept the award as planned, or the proclamation, excuse me. We love to celebrate Library Card Sign-Up Month. This year, not only as the City of Coralville proclaimed this month Library Card Sign-Up Month, but Johnson County Supervisors did as well, as did the City of Iowa City. We're all celebrating this. The Coralville Public Library issued 3,351 new cards last year. So those are new card holders. We have over 28,000 card holders at our library. And those are our current active card holders. If you haven't used your card in 3 years, you're off that active list. So that is a very busy group of people. Over 75% of Coralville residents have cards. So we know the community uses the library very heavily. So we're here to celebrate this tonight and welcome people into the library to get their card if they don't already have one, or to replace their card if their card is worn out. You can do that for free all during this month. The library is often one of the first stops for our new residents in Coralville each year, and so we really love to welcome them and get them their cards and introduce them to the City of Coralville. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Allison. We're very proud of our library in Coralville. Item 5 is citizen comments. This is the time on the agenda for anybody in the audience that would like to speak to us tonight about something that's not already on the agenda. Is anybody here to speak to us tonight? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Mandernack, and I am here on behalf of the Coralville Community Food Pantry. Couple things, I just wanted to give you some numbers for the month of July. We had 889 visits, 391 families were served, 1,380 individuals were served, and food distribution was 28,672. Some upcoming events. We've got our community meal coming up on Friday, September 21st with the library, and we have lots of fun stuff planned, and we'd love some volunteers. We also have a new event coming up on September 28th. It's called Tee Off Against Hunger Golf Tournament. So we're looking for golfers and sponsors, and it'll be at Brown Deer, and it's just going to be a great day. We wanted to thank the city for allowing us to participate in the Fifth Street Fun Evening. I don't know what it was called.
Social?
Yes, and we had a tent, and we gave some tours of the pantry, and we served ice cream, and it was a fun night. And we very sincerely would like to thank you for your very generous donation that that the city made to the food pantry. Obviously could not do it without your help, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else in the audience who'd like to speak to us this evening? Okay, seeing none, move on to item 6, which is a public hearing on some bonds. This is a proposal to enter into sewer revenue loan and disbursement agreement and to borrow money in a principal amount not to exceed $8,986,000 for financing the design and construction of the wastewater plant improvements that will be repaid through the net revenues of the sewer enterprise funds. I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments from the audience? Any written?
No written.
Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution, Don.
Resolution taking additional action with respect to a sewer revenue loan and disbursement agreement is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster,
Aye.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds,
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes with Gross absent. Item 7 is Plaza on Fifth lease agreement, also a public hearing on proposals to an intent to dispose of an interest in real estate for leasing approximately 6,383 square feet of office space on the second floor of the Plaza on Fifth. I would open the public hearing. Any comments?
No written.
No written. Okay. I'll close this public hearing and consider the resolution, Don.
Resolution approving a lease agreement with Apple Inc. for an approximate 6,383 square foot space in the Plaza on Fifth condominiums, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
That was close. Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes with Gross absent. Item 8 is the Old Hickory Lane storm sewer improvements. Probably got a good flushing out tonight. It's A is a public hearing on the plan, specifications, estimate of cost for this project, which will extend the existing storm sewer outlet from Old Hickory Lane to the bottom of the existing channel. I'd like to open a public hearing. Are there any comments this evening? Yes, please.
I don't know anything about this other than I live at the valley and we have a huge sewer pipe that goes through the hill between us and Old Hickory Lane. And is that
No,
the one
this
that's
is the
affected?
cul-de-sac a block further
Over.
to the west.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Any other comments? Any written comments?
No written.
Okay, I'll close the public hearing and consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the plan, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the Old Hickory Lane storm sewer improvements, introduced by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich. Foster.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes with Gross absent. Item 9, Auditor's Parcel 201-6009. This is action to rezone, or excuse me, to change a land use amendment for a parcel of land in Coralville. Item A and B is the Building Department report and Planning and Zoning Commission report. Jim Kessler, building official.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What you see on the screen before you is a piece of ground that's in question. The piece of ground that's colored in brown is the auditor's parcel that we're looking at the land use on to change it to medium density. Just to give you a little location on that, this is First Avenue. This is the newer leg of Country Club Drive going into the golf course. This is the existing leg of Country Club Drive, or the older leg, with the duplexes and the threeplex on this side, and the old farmstead on this side. As I said, this is a request to change it to medium density. It was before P&Z at the last meeting, and P&Z members voted 5 to not recommend this for approval, and 1 to recommend it for approval.
Okay. Item C is a public hearing on the land use. I know we have a number of folks in the audience that would like to speak to us about this tonight. I would first say that we have all received and read your many, many emails and your letters. Appreciate the input that. I also would request that only one person speak on a specific issue. We don't need to hear the same item more than once. So please keep that in mind. And decorum. I don't want to hear any cheering. I don't want to hear any moans, groans, clapping. Let's keep this professional. So with that in mind, we'll open the public hearing on this action, please. Introduce yourself and sign in so we have a record of who is speaking, please. In about 5 minutes, please.
It should be less than that.
Okay.
My name is George Grilly. I live at 1850 Country Club Drive. I just want to address green space, because I think between 6 and 6:40 tonight, we got an excellent example of the importance of green space. You know, living at 1850, we definitely got the brunt of the strong storm that came through. And I will just want to state that with the hard surface that's already there, that Country Club Drive was completely flooded from around the entrance to the golf club. There is, if you put more hardscape in there, it will even be worse, even with the addition of some additional drainage. But the systems cannot take that water, and hardscape adds to it and creates additional flooding. The other thing is that the lake is almost bank full at this moment. The golf course is completely flooded. So I think you really need to consider the importance of natural landscape and water absorption.
Okay. Thank you. Timely comments.
Hi, I'm Kim Swanson from 1800 Country Club Drive. And I'd like to add to what George said about the water and the environment. In the tan section up there, that's completely wooded, like with, I don't know, maybe 150 trees in there. And that is our natural buffer between our neighborhood, the golf course, and the stone quarry. And most days, dynamite goes off in the stone quarry, which is fine. And we feel the rumble, and we hear the noise, and we get the cloud of dust that comes our way. And honestly, that stand of trees is a very natural buffer. And and plus, on a night like this, it soaks up the rain and it blocks the wind. And we would really hate to see that go down. If an apartment building were to be put there, that whole mound there would just be scalped. And it would break our hearts, honestly. But hopefully we'll do the environmentally smart thing and keep it the way it is. As far as the lots go, I understand that the owner would like to receive $2 million for that slip of property. That means if they put 10 condominiums on there, each condominium will be sitting on a $200,000 lot. You can buy a 240-acre farm up in northwest Iowa for $2 million. It's So I would like to see that owner put more of a reasonable price in there and put street-level condominiums, or there's room there for 2, 3, 4 houses, and just make it the same density that our sweet little neighborhood is right now. We'd love to keep it that way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim.
Hello. My name is Jim Collins. Our family has lived at 1701 Country Club Drive for the past 30 years. I'm also speaking on behalf of my in-laws, Rold and Ruth Nelson, who bought their condo at 1770 Country Club Drive about 6 years ago. We join all of our neighbors in opposition to the land use amendment under consideration tonight. I must tell you that we out here in the citizen seats are perplexed by what appears to be the city administration's zealous support for this ordinance. We are having a difficult time understanding why the city seems to be such a strong proponent of radically modifying its own land use plan and its established zoning code within a very stable neighborhood. Even more curious is why you would want to ignore the recommendation of the city's own Planning and Zoning Commission, which all of us only ask you to uphold. Also, we don't understand why the city would want to alienate our entire neighborhood, most residents of which can consider themselves strong supporters of Coralville. Yet just about every other day lately, we have been getting new notice for rezoning request or the city-owned parkland property in our neighborhood, for the city-owned parkland property. Or we are being invited to view a new set of plans for a planned unit development on this city-owned parkland. From the mailings we've been receiving from Watts Group and the City Building Department, it appears the whole development, including a 45-unit tenement building to be built on our public parkland, is already a foregone conclusion. We note that plans viewable in the building department down the hall have already morphed from a 31-unit building to a 45 units in this single structure. Only through a very cynically applied PUD process could a 45-unit building ever be considered consistent with medium-density zoning designation, as proposed here tonight. We wonder how we, as a neighborhood, can treat such an arcane PUD process, can trust such an arcane PUD process. To us, this vote tonight has the potential to be like the proverbial camel's nose under the tent. Seriously, where has been the public discussion on the idea of giving away public parkland so that a couple of well-connected developers can record a profit on a project that would otherwise not be economically feasible? I'm sure you all realize that this is the literal definition of crony capitalism. And is there really an infinite appetite for 750 square foot apartments in this town? Vacancies all around the city argue otherwise. It is true that in the past we have been supporters of Coralville when the city has incentivized developers to improve blighted areas of town, such as the area south of 5th Street and in the Brownfield district that is now the Iowa River Landing. But the point is, those were blighted areas. The parkland in question tonight is anything but blighted. On the contrary, it is a beautiful, verdant, bluff-top setting that is home to an incredible diversity of birds and other wildlife. This parcel is a natural gem, and in a saner world would be recognized for its nature preserve-like qualities. And I'd like you also to recall that you received a protest petition against this land use amendment that was signed by nearly everyone living in our neighborhood. Finally, let me conclude with a more positive vision. We note with appreciation that our friend Kelly Hayworth recently marked his 30th year of service to this community. I may have missed it, but I have yet to notice any public recognition of this milestone. Therefore, we propose that the City Council recognize Kelly's years of outstanding leadership by dedicating a city park in his honor. We have the perfect parcel in mind. This 2-acre timber would require very little to develop into a park, perhaps clean up a few fallen trees, build a path, and add a few benches. I've even thought of a name. Tell me if you like the sound of this. The Kelly J. Hayworth Avian Preserve. Thank you all for considering our opinion.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else like to speak tonight? Only one per family.
Oh, one per family.
No.
Where's the pen? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. I'll be brief. So first of all, I just want to thank all of you for the work that you do. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Chuck Swanson. I live with Kim at 1800 Country Club Drive. And it's not a catastrophe, but this experience has really reminded me of the flood from 2008 with everybody kind of coming together. I've not known all my neighborhood friends as well as I do now because of this experience. So that's one good thing from what we've been through. But I do want to say that people who don't know where I live, all I have to do is I have to say, I live in that park-like area in Coralville. And right away, they know exactly where that is. Because there aren't many areas like that in Coralville or in Iowa City. So we want to keep it that way. Thank you.
Chuck?
I'm just speaking from experience of living off Holiday Road across from 100 and some acres that has just been developed. And 100 acres of trees were basically leveled and ground up. And I have lived there 20 years, and I know that when they set off the blast over in the quarry, when the trees were there, it was like, boom. And I know that they say that it's air blast and it's not like shaking the ground. But since they've removed those trees, it is an incredibly different impact on the buildings in our little valley. And so I guess I'm just supporting these people in hoping that you keep the trees in the ground.
And I don't believe you introduced yourself. If you could please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Carol Belding, and I'm better known as Charlie, and I've
Okay.
been in business in Coralville
Yeah.
for a long time. So
Thank you.
thanks.
Some of us know you. Anybody else? Okay. We need to introduce into the public hearing the various many emails and letters that you have all written. So do we need any motion or anything, or is it just automatically included?
It can be by motion included.
Okay. And we'll also do them all.
The only two items I personally received was one letter from Robert and Terry Pass against the land use change, and then a petition of protest from neighbors of the property. And I apologize, I only received a petition with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures on it. If I'm missing a second page, if I could get that.
Yes, there should be, that was the second page, there should be a first page.
Oh, this is the first page that I have.
Those are the people, I believe, that live on First Avenue.
Yes.
There should be another one of all the residents of Country Club Drive.
Did anyone receive that? I have
Well-
not seen that.
Well, we'll take your word for it, and you look for it on your end, we'll look for it on our end. I trust that it exists if you say it does, but at
It's
this,
16 of the 18 residents.
okay.
But this one, then from the First Avenue people, has Raymond Nielsen, Renee Camaro, Matt Argo, Ken Kecky, I apologize for my pronunciation, and John Randall.
Okay. Well, I would entertain a motion to accept this letter and this petition and all the emails and letters that we also received personally on this project. Someone?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Goodrich, seconded by?
Second.
By Foster. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your good decor tonight during the public hearing. I'm going to close the public hearing, and now it's time for the council to have their discussion. I'd like to start by asking Kelly to just go over what we're doing tonight, what's proposed to be done tonight, and what the next steps would be in either case. If it's not approved, what could happen next, and if it is approved, what could happen next, please?
Okay, the proposal is to change a parcel to medium density, and it's on the map here in brown. And so if it was to pass, then it would take 2 additional readings to adopt by council. If it was to fail, it would just take the 1 vote and it would be completed at that point. If it passed, and it passed 2 more times, which would be the 3 times, then a proposal could come forward for a development on the parcel meeting the requirements of medium density. If it were to fail, obviously it could come back at some future date by someone requesting a change in the land use, but that it would have to go through this process first before it can go through a rezoning. If it passed, it would have to go through a rezoning to either a PUD or to a zone that would meet medium density, one or the other.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, I'll open it up to council discussion.
Well, I'll start.
I was wondering if, before we talked, if Jim could talk to us about the P and Z.
Hey, Sheila,
What would you like, Jill?
what would you like?
The P and Z report, and tell us what they found in there.
The P&Z talked mostly about actually changing the land use plan. We talked about density in the concept of medium density as opposed to lower or higher density. Mostly they talked about, and there was just 2 members who talked, but they talked about actually changing green space parkland to developable ground. And although the rest of them didn't talk, we still had the vote of 1 to 5, or 5 against it and 1 in favor of it. But that was the majority of the discussion.
Thank you. Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
Right. Jim, let's start on the west side of First Avenue at the bottom. What is that zoning on the road?
Here?
Yeah, it's hard to see. I cannot see.
Yeah.
It is just really hard. Okay, all the way down at the bottom of the map. What is that zoning?
All the way down in here?
Mm-hmm, west side.
Let me make this a little larger and we probably can all see it better.
Zoning or land use?
Zoning.
Okay, where this is high density. Oh, it's zoning?
Yeah,
Well, the
it's high
zoning-
density, right?
Land use
density?
is
Medium
high
density?
density, high
Oh,
density.
okay.
Lakewood Hills condominiums are higher, well, I'm sorry, let me look at this.
Well, remember,
This is high density zoning, this is
a
high density land
This
use.
is land use, right?
Yeah.
map, so
That's-
it wouldn't have the zoning on it.
It
This
doesn't
is
have zoning,
land
but it does
use.
have density. This is right here is high density, this is high density. And this,
Medium
of course, is
density?
a golf course, so.
Up to Country Club is medium density.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is-
What is the density on the northern part of Country Club, the corner,
Here?
where the house is?
Oh, right now that's medium density.
Medium
Where the
density.
farmstead is medium
Okay, so we
density.
have medium density up against this, right?
Yeah, medium density.
West
against
of
medium
that,
density.
west of that supposed parkland is, what is that?
This
medium
medium,
den-
it's all
medium
medium
density.
density.
Okay. Now, I've been here a long time, but that road, I don't ever remember that being parkland. That was right-of-way that was for the original road, that the city of Coralville spent a lot of money and a lot of time moving that. And we have spent a lot of money on this golf course, an exorbitant amount of money. We've fought, and we've got a wonderful golf course, beautiful golf course. These things cost money. And we have a park called the golf course. And to the east of that, we have what is property owned by a developer, and it's already platted for condos, for 2-unit condos. So what we're really arguing over is half of that that's already over there is already platted. There's going to be houses there. The other part, I don't view that as park. I view that as the right-of-way easement for the old road. And we spent a lot of money on that. And if you can, other councilmen can correct me, but I will be voting in favor of this.
Thank you, Tom.
Do we have, so I in a lot of the emails that I received, I read a lot about just concerns about what was going to go in this space. And Tom, you had mentioned that there was some platting that had already been done. Do we don't have a solid plan yet, do we?
That's right.
We've seen some suggestions perhaps, but I don't know that we've seen a plan that would have a high-rise apartment or anything like that. And again, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Are you talking about this area here?
Yeah.
The area we're talking about tonight
Yeah.
for the change in land use?
Yes.
They have submitted a development plan for that, yes.
Okay. And what, can you give some detail on that?
On the lower, on this part here that we're talking about tonight, to change from parkland to medium density, they're proposing a 45-unit condominium building.
Okay. And we would have, that is just, we would still have oversight on the final, what that final plan would look like. Just because they're proposing it doesn't mean that that's what it's going to be, correct?
It's actually in the staff review stage at this point.
So we would still be able to take a look at it? We would still, as a council, be able to make changes to
yeah,
it?
it's for rezoning as well as the development of the land, so it's got to come before council, just like this came before council for 3 readings as well.
So just because that's a plan that has been submitted does not mean that that's what is going to be, end up there, correct?
That is a possibility.
Yes. Because right now, we're not voting on a plan, we're just voting on changing the land use for that area to match the land use of the surrounding areas.
That's correct. It'll match the surrounding land uses.
And if we're concerned about green space, would it be possible if we looked at future plans, would we be able to have input and maybe suggest incorporating green space into the plan if we felt that that would be an appropriate direction to go in as a council?
You, the council, always have basically the last word on the development.
He was going to, he kind of spoke about, I'm talking about Gary Watts, about the building similar homes that are like what is already existing on Country Club Road, right? Where are those located?
Those are located on these lots here. There's 4 lots here, 14, 13, 12, and 11,
Okay.
that are not developed on. The rest of these lots are all part of the parking, the original lots are part of the parking lot for the golf course.
Okay.
So he is talking about building townhomes over here.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. Because originally, just so I get my timeline right, when he came in, it was with his first plan, it was a much, much higher density, correct? And we ended up throwing that out. It didn't even come before a vote because he talked with residents and listened to what everybody had to say and then went back and reworked the plan and came back with this one that would have synchronization of those homes along that road that would match all of the existing buildings, correct? And then the condos would be behind all of those homes next to First Avenue.
That's
right?
correct. They'd be east of the townhomes.
Mhm.
It's sandwiched between the townhomes and First Avenue.
Well, where I'm standing, number one, I really appreciate everybody's input. Thank you for sharing that. I also appreciate that Mr. Watts listened to everybody's concerns and tried to find a compromising plan that might be more in line with what everybody could get on board with. I understand your concern about the green space. I never want to cut a single tree down in Coralville. I'm sad we had to cut down the ash trees, so, but with that said, I don't, I guess, feel that this size of building is going to completely demolish the neighborhood. I've talked with Gary Watts a little bit about this and the price points in some of these condominiums, and they are going to be a little bit more in the affordable area. That's very, very critically important to me, is that we don't have enough housing at different price points in Coralville. And research shows that it's very important that you have a mix in neighborhoods for communities to thrive well. So this is important to me as well. So yes, I'm sad about losing trees. I would argue that we have some of the best parks anywhere in Coralville, because I'm on the Parks and Rec Committee and I know how many parks we have, and they're outstanding, and we have a great staff that takes care of all of those. So this isn't really a park, it's more of a timber. But I think that we can respectfully agree that this was a really nice adjustment to what the original plan was. I voted the first one down, not that we voted, but I told Gary Watts I would not vote for it. He respected that from us as well as he respected your input. So I appreciate everybody, kind of tugging back and forth, but to me, this is a pretty good compromise.
I agree with what you're saying, Jill, because I agree that first plan, if it would have come before us, I absolutely would have voted against it. I felt that it was way too much for that space. I think we are early enough in this process that we can continue to talk about, what goes on that property. We can continue to work with the residents of the neighborhood. We can continue to work with Mr. Watts so that we can all come up with a plan that I think we're comfortable with. I know, I understand that change can be very, very difficult. I also agree with Jill in that I don't like to see trees come down. I also respect the opinion of the Planning and Zoning Commission. As a former member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, it would be very difficult for me to go against their recommendations, but the reality is that their job is to make recommendations to us. That doesn't always mean that we agree with those recommendations.
It was stated by Mr. Kessler that they were, the zoning and planning and zoning were concerned about amending the community plan. And I think that's a mistake on any of our parts in looking at the community plan as a solid, set in stone plan. It's made to, it says on the second to the last page that it's made to be looked at each year and made to have adjustments and so on. And so I'm for looking at the community plan and adjusting it. I do appreciate the concerns tonight that were spoken about stormwater and the sound barrier that those trees create from the quarry. And I do have concerns also about the sewer line situation in that area. I would love to just table this for a while so we could discuss all this more. I would like to put that to a vote, but I realize that's probably not going to happen. So at this point, I would, in good conscience, just appreciating what the Planning and Zoning Committee does for us, I would vote no.
And we will have 2 more readings, so, it's, by tabling it, we wouldn't gain much.
We wouldn't
still gonna
gain,
have 2 more
I
readings.
understand, yeah. I just feel like there's more to discuss.
Mitch, and for good reason, you had to be late, I know, and and Lori did a pretty good job at summarizing. But during the public hearing, we heard many of the concerns that we all read in the emails and many letters that we received. Also talked about, with tonight's rainstorm, the hard surface and the impact of runoff and of additional development. There's concerns that the trees do act as a buffer for the sound of the blasting in the quarry. For that, we received a petition that nearly everyone signed against it that live on that country club and First Avenue area. So with that, hate to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to say something, you're welcome to
Yeah,
say.
well, I apologize. Yeah, we had about 40-some junior high kids that were at school when the storm hit, so I was the administrator on there, so I had to make sure everyone was safe and got sent home. Gosh, I have questions, but I'm sure they've been addressed, or don't want to litigate everything.
If they're important to you.
Was there the P&Z report vote? Was there a rationale for what the basis of that vote was on?
There were 2 members that felt very strongly that we should not change the community plan. They felt that it should be followed. And that was basically what the discussion was. There was some discussion, of course, about the density, changing it to medium density, changing this land to medium density from parkland. And so the basic discussion at P&Z was about changing the community plan.
Which is what we would be doing by changing this from parkland.
Yes, you would be changing the original community plan.
And then, so this passes tonight, so this takes 3 readings?
Right. Yes.
So if this passes tonight, what happens? What can,
2 more readings.
It'll be on the next 2 agendas.
Okay, yeah, and then, so if it passes 3 times, where do we go from there?
Then it would have to go, there'd have to be a plan submitted, and it would either have to be rezoned to a planned unit development, or it would have to be rezoned to a zoning classification that falls under medium density.
I would just say, when I vote on these matters, I try to put myself in neighbors' shoes, and I think, if my neighborhood were in this position, where would I be, and how would I vote? And I don't think any neighborhood ever wants anything in their backyard or this or that. And having said that, I do have some concerns about, from my understanding is across the street, right now they can put the units in, it's zoned that way. So this is literally about the big structure on what is.
It's the brown one up there.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're just looking at this lot right here, and that's where the multifamily structure would be constructed, or is proposed to be constructed.
My point is it's essentially surrounded with medium density. Even the house on the south part of it is medium density, zone medium density. The original lot line, I believe, goes right through north-south through the parking lot. So all this property was in the county at the time that we acquired it. And it was just street right-of-way. I think it was a mistake to put designate it as parkland. It was just no man's land because we acquired it. And we've asked the Watts group to come in with a good plan. We're going to be putting sewer and water through there, and if we're going to do it, it would be best to have both parcels together in development. The western part of the development is already platted. It could be built today. And that's my point, is that this is not changing a park. This is not going into like Auburn Hills Park and This was excess land that we had to acquire, that the city and the citizens of Coralville spent to acquire this land. And personally, I have a real problem making personal parks for people. That's my point here. This will become a personal park. It doesn't serve anybody but the homeowners that are there.
Well, anybody that drives by First Avenue has green space to look at
and
too.
then again, First Avenue, we have to look at what we're going to do with First Avenue, because we know that we have an intersection to the north of us that we have to fund. We have to fund and rebuild that. And we're going to be doing arterials. This is an arterial going all the way out to Scanlon. And that road is going to have traffic. We're not going to have sending all the traffic over onto 12th Avenue. It's heavy right now. So, people have to be aware that First Avenue is an arterial, and it's going to be bigger, and it's going to be busier. And I have no problem seeing a building like that, because there are other buildings all the way down there that are exactly the same.
But we still have time.
But we still have time.
To look
We have
at
time.
all this is doing.
Right.
All
we're
we
not-
are doing right now is just changing the land use
Changing
piece of
the
it. We're
land
not
use
voting
plan.
on a plan. We're not voting on.
Exactly.
And the thing is that perhaps nothing will end up going there.
Right.
We're still very, very early in this process, and changing this land use of this one chunk of land, could also give us a lot more flexibility to, add more green space, to do more interesting things with the parcel of land. We're not voting on, we still have time to evaluate whatever is developed there, and we will have input on that process, and the neighborhood will have input on that process.
So maybe this is what you were saying, Lori, and correct me if I'm wrong. So Megan, what's the compelling reason to go against the P&Z recommendation?
Well, actually, I will tell you that I have been waffling a lot on this decision for that reason, because if that absolutely did give me pause, because I recognize that they do important work. I don't like going against their recommendations, but that's not an absolute prescriptive directive from them.
No, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
But to me, we have to have a reason to go
Right.
against. So I'm trying to what is it? Because I might be more on Lori's camp here, just thinking about what's the purpose of going. Yeah, I think Tom. I'm going all over the place. We could debate all night if it's parkland or not. Kelly and I walked through it last night.
All I'm saying,
yeah.
we've got a parcel. We've got medium density to the south. We've got medium density to the west. We've got a hotel to the north, and we've got industrial. We've got a quarry and a road to the right. So it's an island in medium density, and more.
And the way I see it is that this is just changing the density to match the density of the rest of the neighborhood. It's not that, we're changing it drastically and we're going to, we have plenty of time to talk about what goes there. It actually gives us more flexibility when it comes to development, because as Tom said, it's just this one little piece that doesn't match the rest.
Right.
And who knows, I'm sure that something will go there. I'm sure that the plan for a very long time has been for something to go there, but we're still very, very early in this process. And the way I see it is that we are changing the land use of this one area to match everything that's around it.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, but Mary, so if it gives us more flexibility, so this passes, but a developer could we can't say no then to what goes on there if it matches the new use.
It would match the medium density, and if he goes the PUD route, we would have significant control.
Right, but if he doesn't, how does that give us flexibility?
Well,
You have the choice of whether you would pass it as a regular rezoning or whether you would pass it as a rezoning to a PUD. So, I mean, that's your choice.
So we don't have to change it to a PUD unless we like what we see.
So under the PUD, if we, as a council, say this is too big, too many units, we could say it's gotta be smaller.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And if we want more green space, we can
Yeah.
say it's gotta be more green space.
And that's absolutely, I can, tell you right now that that's definitely something that I would be in favor of, because I would want it to match the neighborhood that is already there. Even if it is changed, even if the land use is changed from park to medium density, I hope that we would be able to come up with a plan that would preserve some of the green space and would just fit in with the character of the neighborhood. Because I said this earlier, I actually did not like the first plan that came before us. I thought that was way too much. I thought it was, if it would have come before us, I absolutely would have voted no on that.
Well, that's where I'm with the whole area. That's why every time the hotel to the north and all that, to me, that space has, it has that natural piece, and there's, the naturalness of it. And, when you're driving on First Avenue, the whole entrance into the woods and the golf course and that. So this passes, theoretically, if we as a council never saw anything we liked, it would remain as is unless.
Right.
Yeah.
But the whole parcel then could be developed as one.
We ready to vote? Roll call.
We haven't read the ordinance yet.
Oh, read the ordinance.
Yeah, better do that.
Ordinance number 2018-1018, an ordinance amending the Coralville Community Plan to reflect certain property generally known as Auditor's Parcel 2016009, Coralville, Iowa, to be designated medium density residential use in place of parks green space use. That ordinance is introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Any last words? Roll call.
Goodrich,
No.
Foster,
Aye.
Gross,
No.
Gill,
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its first consideration 3-2, with Gross and Goodrich voting no. Thank you very much. It'll be back on next agenda 2 weeks from tonight.
Point of order, Mayor. Doesn't it require 75% council passage to pass this, since there was a protest petition?
No, the petition does not apply to the land use change. It would apply to a rezoning. Is that correct, Don? That's what I was told.
Yes.
Yeah. So if this had been a rezoning action, the petition would have required 75%, but not a land use change. Okay, thank you very much. You're welcome to stay. Item 10 is Lot 11, Oakdale Research Park, and Auditor's Parcel 2018053. This is, again, a building department and P&Z report on a rezoning that will allow for a second building on the site out near where Leapfrog is located in the Oakdale Research Park. Jim?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor, again. Actually, what we're looking at is to rezone this existing lot number 11 of Oakdale Research Park, where the existing Leapfrog building, as we call it, the Leapfrog building, exists right here. And then they've added this auditor's parcel to this in order to put the second building on this lot, and created a larger tract of land between lot 11 and this auditor's parcel. So to put this in perspective for you, this is actually the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City Railway and Oakdale Boulevard. And off to the east here is where the STEM school is. So this is what the request is tonight, is to rezone this from I-1, which is what Oakdale Research Park is, to an IPUD2, which would allow two buildings to put on this one tract of land here now. So what they want to do is, this is a site plan we'd be looking at. I'll try to blow this up a little bit for you. So this is the existing Leapfrog building. This is the existing lot number 11, the Leapfrog building is on. This is the parcel that they're adding in order to put the second building on. So the second building they're going to add is a two-story building. It's 10,300 square feet per floor. They're putting the additional parking on to handle this building. This is all basically general office building, so it would be, they have plenty of parking for that. As a matter of fact, they're over-parked on it with their parking design. So they would, the only entrance we would have to this, and this is another reason for the PUD, is off of Oakdale Boulevard. So in order to access this land, so this land has no access to a street or road or anything. It backs up to the railroad track. So it's basically landlocked in there. So their only access would be through the existing parking lot and back into this adjoining parking lot for this building as well. Both buildings would basically share the parking here. I don't think there's any designated parking for one building than the other building. We have looked at this. It meets all the parking requirements. It meets the setback requirements. This is just another look at the new portion of the building with the additional parking lot and the proposed building. We have looked at this. The fire chief has looked at this. It has fire access. This is a fire access lane to get here and to get to the distance that is required from this point to this point in the building, and this would be the same on this end of the building as well. So as far as all of those criteria, it meets it. Just more of the zoning. This is pretty much, I think I have a better representation of a, I'll have to go back one. This is a proposed landscape plan for the thing. They're adding all the trees that are required for the parking lot. They're adding plantings around the building. Most of this out here is pretty much just green area. We've got some wetland area down there. There is a drainage ditch that runs back here. So this is the landscape plan. And then to look at the building, this are the views of the building, the southeast elevation, the entry detail, which would face the new parking lot, and the northeast perspective of the building. So this was planning and zoning, and this passed with a 6-0 vote for recommendation to the council.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I'll open the public hearing for this ordinance. Any comments from the audience? Any written?
No written.
Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and consider the first reading of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2018-1019, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 11, Oakdale Research Park, and Auditor's Parcel 2018053 from I-1 Research Office Industrial District to IPUD-1 Industrial Plan Unit Development 1 District, introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second. Seconded by Gross. Discussion? I was just curious, Jim, who's the owner of this piece of land?
The land is owned by the university.
Yeah, it's
Okay, that's what I wondered. Yeah.
It's part of the research park.
Yeah.
As is the land that Leapfrog is on now?
Yeah.
That's why it can be combined. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that. Roll call?
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its first consideration, all ayes. Item 11 is Lot 2, Jacobs Clear Creek 6 Subdivision. This is the third and final reading of an ordinance that would allow a new second one-user building south and west of Popeyes Restaurant, much like the one that's currently under construction west of Popeyes. Don?
Ordinance number 2018-1014, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Lot 2, Jacobs Clear Creek 6th Subdivision from C2 Arterial Commercial District to CPUD2 Commercial Plan Unit Development 2 District, is introduced for adoption, first consideration by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its third and final consideration, all ayes. Item B is a resolution for the same project approving the PUDB site plan.
Resolution approving the PUDB site plan for Lot 2 Jacobs Clear Creek, 6th Subdivision, Coralville, Iowa. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
The resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 12 is Woodland Trails. This also is a third and final consideration of an ordinance that would allow a single lot residential subdivision located at 2305 Oakdale Road that will have 2 3-plex townhomes.
Ordinance number 2018-1016, an ordinance amending the Coralville zoning ordinance, the same being ordinance number 664 as previously amended, rezoning certain property located within the corporate limits of the city of Coralville, Johnson County, Iowa, and generally known as Woodland Trails from R1 Single Family Residential District to RPUD 2 Residential Plan Unit Development 2 District, is introduced for third and final consideration for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its third and final, all ayes. Item B, same project, resolution approving the PUD site plan.
Resolution approving the PUDB site plan for Woodland Trails, Coralville, Iowa, is introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich.
Thank you.
Discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution passes, all ayes. Item 13 is rental housing, carbon monoxide, and smoke detector. Also, third and final consideration of the ordinance that requires dual protection of carbon and smoke detectors in each rental unit.
Ordinance number 2018-1017, an ordinance amending Chapter 145 of the Code of Ordinances regarding the requirement for smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in rental housing units, is introduced for adoption, third and final consideration by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its third and final, all ayes. Item 14 is a massage therapy business establishment. This is an ordinance that we've been working on for several months now. And this ordinance requires massage therapy business establishments employees to have their state licenses to operate in the city of Coralville. Consider the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2018-1011, an ordinance establishing Chapter 133 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville regarding massage therapy business establishments, is introduced for adoption. Second consideration by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Close. Second by Gross. Discussion.
Is this state licenses Iowa state license or any state license?
I don't know.
State license of Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have a state
That's
Iowa
what the
state
memo
license.
says
Right.
here.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Okay.
the Iowa Board of Massage Therapy, yeah.
Yep.
So they've got an Iowa license, okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
My name's Carol Belding, Holiday Road. I am a massage therapist. I have an Iowa license. Reading through the ordinance, I have some questions just on wording. The purpose, it seems it doesn't really say purpose. I mean, it says health and well-being of our citizens. But the purpose of this whole ordinance is, I think it's a little more, it should have more descriptive. Then on down where it says application, it says upon the receipt by the Coralville, and it says policy department.
Should be police.
But it
department.
should be police,
Yes,
am I correct?
that's a catch,
Okay,
typo.
and this is
Yeah.
like, so this is like the final one. And then on down, it says, shall be considered a confidential policy report. And I think that should be police.
Yes.
And other than that.
Good catches there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ordinance passes its second consideration, all ayes. If the council so chooses, I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules and collapse the third reading of this ordinance.
So moved.
Suspend.
Seconded by Gill, or moved by Gill, seconded by Gross. Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Okay, motion is approved. Ordinance done?
Ordinance number 2018-1011, an ordinance establishing Chapter 133 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Coralville regarding massage therapy business establishments. Introduced for adoption, third and final consideration. Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
It passes its third and final consideration, all ayes. Thank you very much for the community here, that you provided some valuable input, and it's been a process, but I think we're close to being happy, so. Item 15 is High Country Road pavement repair. Assistant City Engineer Scott Larson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just brought up on the screen just a refresher of where this project is located. South end of Old High Country Road, south of Sierra Trail. So back on August 7th, we did receive the 4 bids shown above, ranging from $56,403 up to $65,374.20. And the engineer's estimate was $53,266. So the bids were a little bit above our estimate, but following some subsequent in-the-field inspection, partly because some of the construction material and equipment for the ongoing Bridgewater construction was moved out of the way, and we had a much better look at the pavement condition. We've concluded that our recommendation is to reject all bids, and then we will go back with a much more focused repair project on the Old High Country Road pavement, and use those repair dollars elsewhere in the community to stretch them out a little bit.
Okay, thank you. The resolution then, Don.
Resolution rejecting bids for the High Country Road pavement repair, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion?
Just like to thank the citizens for their input on that. And it's a long process, but I'd like to thank the mayor for his involvement.
On this road repair?
No, I thought we were doing the water.
Could I say, I would just like to mention.
I thought it was the water.
We've had such a nice job done on First Avenue and right by Oakdale Road. Will it be a similar type work here as was done there?
On High Country?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, this will be very small patching.
Small patching, okay, that's
Yeah.
what, yeah.
Yeah, we're not-
But you're confident that will last and
Oh, yes.
be, I just am
part of
trying to
it-
compare it to
right.
something else, because it sounds like
Oh,
maybe
I know
we're
what-
downgrading.
No, I know what you're talking about.
quality.
The recent asphalt overlay at First Avenue in Oakdale. Yes, that was very welcome repair. And we
Yes.
did receive a lot
Yeah,
of
that was
positive
welcome.
comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here we would
Will
be
this
doing.
be similar?
We would just be doing some concrete full depth patching, but also crack sealing, much like we did along long stretches of Oakdale Boulevard last year, and that can be a really important preventative measure to extend the life of pavement. So that's what we're going to be doing out here as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved with all ayes, with the enthusiastic aye by Dr. Gill. Item 16 is amendment number 2 to the purchase agreement. That extends the closing date to Halloween, October 31st, from September 30th for the purchase of the Hawkeye Ready Mix property along First Avenue.
Resolution approving amendment number 2 to that certain real estate purchase agreement and lease with Dakota Red Corporation and King's Material, Inc. Introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodds, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion?
Yeah, the owners have requested the extension just to give them additional time to do cleanup work there. They have moved to their new facility on at the quarry on Deer Creek Road, and they are intending to do a lot of demolition and cleanup, and this just gives them additional time to get that done.
Thank you. Roll call?
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 17 is the I-80-380 interchange improvements. This is an agreement with the Iowa DOT outlining our various responsibilities with that project.
Resolution approving a right-of-way agreement for primary road project with the Iowa Department of Transportation for the I-80, I-380 systems interchange project agreement number 2018-4-260, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 18 is Brownfields tax credit, and it's the first item is a resolution. This conveys a portion of Outlot B in the Iowa River Landing to IRL Parkview Investments for a 45-unit residential building, and supports their application for the allocation of tax credits as a brownfield site in the amount of 24%.
Resolution approving an option agreement with IRL Parkview Investments LLC for a portion of Outlot B, Iowa River Landing Part 5, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion?
This is the land north of the Marriott parking ramp, and it's the development we've been talking about for some time, and the price for the sale would be at appraised value, which that hasn't been completed.
Okay. Roll call?
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Second, item B is a resolution for the funding via the Brownfields program, same project.
Resolution of support of the application of IRL Parkview Investments LLC for funding via the Brownfields Tax Credit Program, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Resolution approved, all ayes. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through Y inclusive.
Moved by Gill, seconded by
Second.
Goodrich. Discussion? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Consent calendar is approved, all ayes. Item 20 is the city engineer road construction report. And maybe looking at some rainfall totals too, or something it looked like.
Oh, yeah. You can see that up there, can't you?
Yeah, we were watching.
I've been texting with Eric Fisher, Street Superintendent Eric Fisher, just to see how things are going out there. It looks like we received about 2 inches in much less than an hour, so it was really intense. I'll give you a real quick summary of what I've learned from that. On the way here, I noticed Holiday Road out by Montessori School was basically flooded from sidewalk to sidewalk, but probably within 15 to 20 minutes, that was gone and drivable. There's some interesting video out there of First Avenue down by Walgreens underneath the railroad viaduct. That was flooded, as was Camp Cardinal Boulevard just north of the Clear Creek Bridge. But Eric reported that is also drivable, or was probably at least a half hour ago. So, but it looks like we missed the wind damage. There was maybe reports of 83-mile-an-hour gust at the Iowa City Airport, but I don't think we really got anything like that in Coralville. So, no major reports of trees down, etc. So, just a lot of localized street flooding that is probably mostly gone by now.
I will say, Scott, the Northwest Junior High rain gauge was at 4 inches.
Okay, yeah,
So-
I thought 2 inches seemed
Yeah.
a little low, but that's
Yeah.
what I was
I'm
seeing
not sure
on
how
all the
official that is, but
yeah, I was seeing a lot of looking at the official gauges here, and it was maxed at 2. So, but some of the rain gauges weren't reporting any rain, so that tells you that maybe something went horribly wrong at those because of the intensity. So,
Scott, were we
yeah.
at all close to implementing any of our flash flood mitigation structures or anything like that?
No, there's, and really in an instance like that, the two creeks we worry about are primarily Muddy Creek and Clear Creek. Muddy Creek, there are no measures. You kind of sit back and watch what happens. And then Clear Creek, we do have the opportunity, if necessary, to implement both the temporary walls as well. Of course, we have the permanent walls in place that protect up to the 100-year elevation plus a foot. So we do have some time, if necessary, to implement measures on Clear Creek, but that was not the case with today's event. So First Avenue, it sounds like the traffic control held up actually fairly well with through the storm. Those pedestrian barricades that channelize pedestrians through the work zone, those were knocked over, but the report was that the contractor was on site immediately putting those back up. On First Avenue project itself, as I stated in my update last Thursday, we were hoping that we would be looking at opening 6th Street sometime next week. Obviously, it's been a rough week with the rainfall, and so we're looking at it, day by day or hour by hour as far as what's getting done, what can get done, and then of course we have the Fry Fest and the first home football game. The contractor has told us they do intend to be working Friday. They will not be impacting traffic, and there is the possibility they may be working Saturday as well, also not impacting traffic at all, but trying to knock off some of those items on the to-do list that are necessary in order for us to open up the 6th Street intersection. So you will get another update from us on Thursday afternoon on that project. Coleridge Avenue from Oakdale Boulevard to Forever Green Road is still going pretty strong. They did not get the main line paving done yesterday as they intended because of the rainfall. So they may be able to try again tomorrow. It just depends on how the existing rocked subgrade or subbase holds up after tonight's rain event. So hopefully we'll see some paving down there yet this week. And then the DOT's project down on Coleridge Avenue at the Commerce Drive intersection, we checked in with them today, and almost all the pavement is done, and they expect to be completely done with that project within 2 weeks. They did say that their contractor is not allowed to work on Friday or Saturday, so they will be pulling off most of the pylons and cones that are out on Coleridge Avenue sometime on Thursday. So we'll have as many lanes open as possible out there come Friday and Saturday. So.
Thank you, Scott.
Any
for
questions?
All you do. I don't even watch Joe Winters anymore. I was listening.
Yeah, right.
Any questions for Scott?
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for the report, Scott.
Thanks.
City Administrator report.
Just to remind everyone that Fry Fest is this weekend on Friday, and looking forward to having most of the coaches from the 1983 era back for that event. So expect a good crowd, and they have more vendors than they've ever had. So it's actually sold out, and plus some. So it's a good thing. That's it.
Okay. Mayor's report. Kelly, I'm glad you survived your incident, and the other person I heard came out worse. So.
Did you have a bike accident?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, Kelly took a spill on slick pavement, so, but as a good bicyclist, he had his helmet on, so. So I don't have much to report either. I just, again, you covered Fry Fest pretty well. I just wanted to just say that, you know, this past week, two highly recognized elected officials passed away, and Congressman Leonard Boswell and U.S. Senator John McCain. And, you know, how respected are those two gentlemen, you know, and they're truly elected officials. I don't like to use the term politicians because I think that brings some real negative connotation. And I'd like to think, and I believe that we are up here at this table all elected officials as well. And I think we have earned their respect, and I appreciate that. But I just send out my regards to the families of those two individuals who passed away. City Attorney's report.
Well, with Ellen filling in, I haven't missed Kevin at all. That's all I have.
You may have a new career there, Ellen. Is there anything you'd like to add, Ellen?
I have nothing.
Okay. Committee and council members report. I don't know who wants to start. Lori? You want to
Sure.
start?
Congratulations, Kelly, on 30 years here at the city of Coralville as our city administrator. He celebrated that this month in August. The Coralville Connection was in all of our mailboxes this week or this past few days anyway. I want to thank the city for doing this publication, Ellen and Jen, who work so hard on this. There's tons of information in here for all of us, so encourage, take some time to read that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Jill?
I have nothing to add. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Tom?
I have nothing yet. Thank you.
Okay. Mitch?
Well, again, my apologies for getting here late. Allison, did you talk about library stuff this week? You covered? Okay, beautiful. You nailed it. She always does, so it doesn't shock me.
She said that the loaning of books at the library was free. Free this month.
You better keep your day job.
Okay.
I'm done.
Okay, Megan.
I have nothing.
Okay. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Gill, seconded by
Second.
Foster. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thanks.